I need you to rise to the occasion of David Crabb.
Hi. So I am not a superstitious person. I will open my umbrella indoors and walk under ladders, and if a black cat crosses my path, I don't turn around. I chase it to see if it has tags and is hungry. But when you put me on an airplane, I become like Tangina, that little mystic woman from Poltergeist. Do you remember her? Like, everything is a forebearer of doom. Every sign holds an omen of evil. I go crazy. I become like a numerologist. Like, I look at numbers. I'll be like going to the airport and they'll play like Don't Fear the Reaper, and I'm like, I can't get on this goddamn plane. I go crazy. So I try to avoid flying unless I have to. And very recently, my friend Brad, who is this awesome guy that I've known for years, he asked me to do a production job with him in Washington, D.C. So I'm like, sure. So I go and we do the job, and then I think I'm going to get on a train to come back home. And he's like, David, surprise, I got us tickets on JetBlue. We're going to fly back to New York. And I'm like, thanks, friend. So we're on our way to the airport, and I'm trying not to panic. I'm like trying to just, center myself and not freak out. And as we're driving, we pass this sign that has like the time and temperature, like a bank sign. It's like, oh, it's like 51 degrees, and then it says 4-1. I'm like, oh, it's the 1st already. Oh, it's April 1st. I'm flying on April Fool's Day. So here we go. Let's crank up the anxiety. That's like the first part. I'm like, oh, that's not really normal to fly on April Fool's Day. Something bad's gonna happen. But I keep thinking my friend Brad, he's one of the most pragmatic, realistic people I know. He has a beautiful wife, and they have a newborn son at home. He runs his own business. He's like the perfect flight companion for someone like me who is psychotic. So we get to the airport, and we're waiting at the gate, and I'm already worried, it's gonna be like flight 666 from gate 13. I'm already looking at everything, So I'm getting the sweat, the glistening, the beginning, the hot pits, and he's like, you seem a little anxious, and I'm like, I've known you for 10 years. You don't know about me and flying? He's like, no, we've never flown together. So I go through the whole thing, and then he's like, David, you have to calm down, and he goes through all the statistics that everyone tells you. You have more of a chance of being hit by a bus or in a crosswalk. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And then at the end of it all, he says, but to tell you the truth, now that I have a newborn son at home, I understand the fear you're talking about. Crank it up. Let's go. All right. Fucking flop sweat, it's getting rough. So I tell Brad, I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom. So I'm walking around the corner of the bathroom, and I have these 3 very important rules when I fly. They're part of my psychoses. And as I round the corner, I pass 60 members of a high school sports team. No, that's a Final Destination moment. Don't do that. Do not get on that plane. They are the Potomac Saints. They're 16 years old. They all have little matching red jumpsuits. And I'm like, I'm going to die. This is a bad sign. They're waiting to get on my plane with me. It's going to be bad. I go to the bathroom, and I'm coming back, and as I leave the bathroom, I look, and where no one is standing, it's like it just catches my attention, is this penny. This untouched, blazing, blinding bright copper penny heads up. And the Tangina in me that sees omens is like, this is going to be my talisman. And I put that shit in my pocket, and I'm like, I'm going to survive this flight now. I know it sounds so stupid. I want to apologize. It's ridiculous, but it's how my mind works. So I put it in my pocket, and I sit down, and then I look across from me, and rule number 2 is broken. Maxine Waters, do you know of her? She's the sassy Tina Turner lookalike congresswoman who's been bitching about the Iraq War since 1934. She's always on Real Time with Bill Maher. She is sitting across from me in a fabulous wig and a coat, and for a split second I'm like, oh, I love her. And then I'm like, you cannot fly with celebrities. Do not ever fly with a celebrity, because it's bad enough that it's going to be like, oh, David died on that plane. It's like, no, David died on that plane with Maxine Waters. So I'm in a sheer panic now, and Brad's even my friend, he reaches out and he puts his hand on me and he's like, it's going to be okay. I'm glistening, huge pits. And then finally they're like, now we're going to start boarding the plane. And he gets up to go first, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm a preferred member. And he's like, you get to come with me. So I'm walking, and this has never happened to me. I'm walking, no one is in front of us. It's like I'm walking down the fluorescent lit, endless, gaping maw of death down this tunnel. And I literally feel like Jo Beth Williams in that scene from Poltergeist in the hallway that never ends. Like, Carol Ann! I'm just keep running, and it never ends. So it's terrifying, and we get right to board the plane, and the woman says, "Well, where are you sitting, sir?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm with my friend." And he's like, "No, you're not sitting with me. I couldn't get our tickets together." I'm like, so I reach in my pocket and I pull out my boarding pass, and as I do, something slips out of my pocket, and it spins a few times, and in slow motion, I watch my talisman. It clinks the inside of the door of the plane, and then it clinks over to the little tunnel, and then literally in the 1/8-inch space that isn't sealed, it slides away. And I can hear it muffled on the tarmac go ding. So, and that's when I know I'm going to die. So Brad walks ahead of me, and he sits where he's gonna sit. And then I sit, I'm in like the 5th row. So I'm sitting there panicking, watching all these people's mothers and daughters and friends, and the Potomac Saints with all their happy faces, not knowing that they're about to be like on a snowdrift, sitting on the wing of the plane, trying to make beef jerky out of their friend Jim. You know, like they have no idea. And I want to reach out to all of them and be like, we should get off this plane. But I'm like, I'm not gonna be that guy. I'm not gonna be that guy. But I start my 3rd rule, and my 3rd rule is, and by the time they seal that door, my 3rd rule is broken. There is no child or baby on the plane. Because God will blow up my heathen ass in the sky, without a doubt, like no worries. But my idea is like if there's a baby or child, like I'm gonna be okay. So we start to like go around the tarmac, and we go around the tarmac for like half an hour, and panic. The remote on my JetBlue remote isn't working, and I start to panic, like if the remote doesn't work, what else doesn't work on this goddamn plane? And then the pilot comes on, and the pilot is crystal clear, which worries me, because the pilot's never crystal clear, and it's always like some fuckover moment of like, if you need to go to baggage clear, crystal clear. He comes on and he says, "Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, sorry that we are moving around the tarmac for so long. Our initial departure time of 8:26 has been pushed back. We'll now be leaving at 9:11. And there's a hiccup in his voice, like even he knows as he says it, like, fuck, I should have shuttled that back or forward at least a minute. And something happens as we go to take off a few minutes later, and I just go crazy. I start sweating and laughing, and anyone else, like if I saw me, I'd be like, that guy's a terrorist. That guy's gonna kill us. I'm like, ah! There's a VH1 special on the greatest 100 pranks of the year, and I'm just like, ah! Salma Hayek just pranked her with a giant poop in a restaurant. Ah! Like, it's bullshit. I'm just like going crazy, sweating, laughing. And I accept in that moment that I'm crazy and that I'm going to die. 38 minutes later, when we land safely in New York, I'd like to say that I like got on the ground and I kissed, I was like, but nothing. I was just in such a sheer terror and panic and a daze that I stumbled off the plane, not really accepting that I was alive on some level, but kind of drunk from the whole experience. And I waited for my realistic, pragmatic, awesome, level-headed friend Brad to be behind me, and I was gonna turn and tell him I just did the dumbest thing. I was such a freak on the airplane. And as I turned to look at him, I looked, and he was white as a ghost. His eyes were like saucers, and he said, "I thought we were going to die." So lesson learned. Sometimes you're not the only one that's crazy, and sometimes you have to embrace your crazy and just go into the light. Thank you.
David Crabb, ladies and gentlemen. I know. It wasn't bad, was it?